killing our children and families, and holding accountable the habitual thieves and criminals that are ripping the soul out of our small businesses and large businesses. Balance of not having lawlessness, balance of not having law, balance of not having lawlessness, stopping fentanyl dealers from killing our children and families, and holding accountable the habitual thieves and criminals that are ripping the soul out of our small businesses and large businesses. This is very important because after years of an experiment that has shown that it is not working because it doesn't have the right. When you're talking about fentanyl dealers that have killed 77,000 people across the United States, the number one killer of young people 18 to 45 in the nation, and when you look at the consequences and that there is no consequence for taking a life, that is unacceptable. And being able to bring accountability, being able to look at the families that have lost their loved ones and say that the law actually hears you and sees your loss and will hold that drug dealer accountable. Will give them a warning at the time that they're convicted, similar to DUI warnings that tell them the next time you sell this deadly substance and someone dies, you're going to be held accountable. Common sense reforms like that our state desperately needs and are not available. Proposition 36 is the fix for those big issues that we have in our community. When you're talking about retail theft, it is not just an economic issue. When you have things locked up, when you have your clerks and employees scared, looking over their shoulder, they don't know what's going to happen next because they know that same thief that came in 50 times can come in again and leave. And so long as it's under $950, they'll get that same citation or a book and a release. That is not acceptable. That's a system that's out of balance. So I am, as your district attorney, I am urging you to read the proposition for yourself, to understand it, to not buy the rhetoric out there, to not believe the untruths being told. This is a measure that will bring back treatment. It will bring compassion and accountability in the right balance. I'd like to invite Sheriff Kelly Martinez to discuss her insights with you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm Sheriff Kelly Martinez of San Diego County. We're here today to show our support for Proposition 36. Since the passage of Proposition 47 in 2014, we have seen the effect of decriminalizing certain drug and theft offenses. It's created an environment where offenders feel confident in stealing the property of others without fear of any consequences. We stand on the outskirts of downtown San Diego. If you walk down the street towards the heart of the downtown district, you will see stores that have closed and boarded up. You see a previously robust business community that can no longer afford to operate under the current conditions. No business should have to close because of the cost of doing business being too high. No business should have to keep their inventory locked up or in the back room because thieves take it right off the shelves and walk out the door with any fear of accountability or consequence. This is the same with drug policies. We have normalized drug use, which has created more addiction, more overdoses, and more death. As law enforcement officers, we are often seen as the front line in the battle of crime and disorder. However, we know that our role extends far beyond just enforcing the law. We are also the stewards of public safety and community well-being. Today, I stand before you in support of Proposition 36, a measure that embodies a progressive and compassionate approach to addressing drug-related offenses. Prop 36 is a pathway to reform. It recognizes that addiction is a public health issue rather than a criminal one. People experiencing addiction need those supportive services. But we have created we have created more dependency upon drugs by removing the stigma of drug use. I've witnessed the devastating impact of drug addiction on individuals, and I've witnessed the devastating impact of drug addiction on families. We've seen how punitive measures often fail to address the root causes of addiction, leading to a cycle of recidivism that burdens our criminal justice system. I hear from our communities all the time. What they want is a world where our children and grandchildren don't have to witness public drug use and the normalization of drugs. We want stores that are open with merchandise on the shelves where people can shop without fear. We want businesses and business districts to thrive, and we all want to feel safe. Our laws must reflect our values, and right now there's a gap between how we want to live and the current state. As your elected sheriff, I have a unique responsibility to advocate for policies that enhance the safety and well-being of our communities. Proposition 36 offers a solution. By reinstating drug courts, it provides an opportunity for individuals to receive treatment and rehabilitation instead of incarceration. This approach not only aims to reduce crime and recidivism, but it also will save lives by addressing the underlying addiction that drives many to commit crimes, including retail theft. Drug courts have a proven track record of success. Research shows that individuals who participate in drug court programs are significantly less likely to reoffend compared to those who go through traditional criminal justice processes. They receive the structure, the accountability, and the support they need to turn their lives around. As I move my agency towards modern incarceration, toward a path to self-sufficiency, we need to recognize by investing in our systems as a whole and invest in the prioritization of treatment over punishment, we can build not only safer, healthier San Diego, but California as a whole. I hope that we can rebalance our priorities and continue to work together to keep our communities safe. Together we can make a difference, one life at a time. This November, I urge you to vote yes on Proposition 36. And now I'd like to introduce Beth Booth, who's the owner of Spaces Renewed.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you, sheriffs, for being here. I am a lifelong resident of Oceanside. I was born and raised here, and I'm old enough to remember a time where store shelves were not empty and basics like baby food and medicine were not locked behind plexiglass. I want people to remember that things have not always been this way and that the current crime wave and security crisis we are facing is not normal, inevitable, or acceptable. We can do better, and we must. There is a threefold scourge affecting our state, and we all know what it is. It's homelessness, drug addiction, and crime. Prop 36 amazingly addresses all three of these issues that are affecting each other and making each one of the other symptoms worse. The simple truth is that Prop 36 provides positive incentives and resources for people just wanting to be free from drug addiction. The prison of drug addiction can be broken with the right incentives and programs. Prop 36 also offers just and proper consequences for people choosing to make our communities dangerous, threaten our businesses, and victimize our families. I'm not coming to you just as a business owner. I'm a mom of 5 little kids. And when I see what's going on in the stores, at my business, in their schools, in our community, it's not right, and it can be addressed with Prop 36. My business has been vandalized many times, and we call law enforcement. We get it on tape. We show them the faces of the people who have done these things to our building, and they can do nothing because of the way that the laws are currently structured. Many days I go to the office and I have to walk across bodies laid out across my front porch all around me. I don't know if they're asleep, if they're just on drugs, or if they're dead. We don't feel safe walking to and from our cars on a daily basis. What made me want to come and tell my story is what I witnessed a few weeks ago at my office. There was a woman. She was across the street and she was hunched over, swaying back and forth, taking on and off her clothes, walking in and out of traffic. She was a danger to herself and everybody else. This went on for hours and hours, and so I called the police and they came like they always do, and they just watched. They could do nothing. They couldn't bring her to jail. They couldn't take her to a treatment center. They couldn't take her to a rehab facility. All they could do was watch until she wandered off maybe 30 minutes later and became, I guess, someone else's problem. But when I saw her, all I saw was a woman my age. There's nothing inherently different about her than me. She's somebody's daughter, somebody's mom, someone's sister, someone's friend. We as a society are not offering solutions for people who are in the prison of drug addiction. We have to help people make the right choice. It's up to us to steward this community. And if someone is caught in drug addiction and cannot get free, we cannot leave them to their own devices and die on the street, because that's what's happening and we've all seen it. Voting yes on Prop 36 sets us on a new path to healing, safety, and dignity. I'm urging our community to vote yes on Prop 36. And next is Kelly Vernon, President of the Chief Probation Officers of California.
Good morning. Probation supports Proposition 36 as our current justice system is out of balance. This measure is a crucial step towards a restoration of balance as it integrates accountability, consequences, and drug treatment. To reduce addiction and crime, we need real accountability overseen by trained probation professionals. Proposition 36 answers the call for real change from our communities, balances the rights of victims, and addresses the needs of those in the justice system that are seeking a chance at rehabilitation. Probation officers throughout California see firsthand those that we supervise frequently cycling through arrest as there is no incentive to participate in drug programs. But treatment alone is insufficient. We must pair those opportunities with accountability to be effective. Since Proposition 47, drug court participation in the state of California has dropped 67%, showing the clear need for fixes like Proposition 36 to rebalance the system. The status quo is no longer acceptable. While we've seen successes prior to Prop 47, the dismantling of drug court left a gap. We must fund not only treatment programs, but also the pathways that encourage individuals to seek and complete treatment. Under Proposition 36, we can hold individuals accountable and better ensure their participation in drug treatment programs which address the root of their criminal activity. As it stands currently, compelling people into treatment is difficult if not impossible. But Proposition 36 will be a big step towards restoring that ability, making treatment a required path for those with addiction issues. This is not just about incarceration, it's about assessing a person's need and finding appropriate individualized treatment options within the community rather than defaulting to jail or prison. The science of balancing individualized treatment with accountability to ensure meaningful rehabilitation is the unique role probation fulfills in our criminal justice system. And with the support needed, we stand ready to enhance the work under Proposition 36. The key to having this important measure succeed is not just ending the discussion on Election Day, but to have a continued focus on successful implementation to avoid past mistakes and ensure follow-through. All of our law enforcement and system partners need the tools to enforce accountability while providing incentives for treatment completion. With a continued commitment and focus on solving the crisis that is facing our state and a willingness to commit support and resources to these solutions, together we can help bring California back and start restoring the safety our communities deserve. I'd like to welcome Don Barnes, Sheriff of Orange County.
Thank you for being here. My name is Don Barnes. I'm the Sheriff Coroner of the County of Orange. I'm also the President of the California State Sheriff's Association. I'm proud to be here today in support of Proposition 36, as I echo the concerns shared previously and throughout the state from our communities and our law enforcement partners. Whether here in San Diego, Orange County, Sacramento, or Fresno, the issues remain the same. We are all fed up, and the communities we serve are also tired of being habitually violated by crime. Deputies are tired of seeing the same people and arresting them over and over and over again on citation, just like you would somebody making a illegal left turn, for those individuals not to appear in court. In Orange County, we have, over the last several months, arrested some people and brought them into justice for the violations that were allowed to continue under Prop 47, some of them with up to 50 warrants for the same violations. Small business owners have suffered the most and are tired of the ongoing threat of thefts that impact their livelihood. Residents have seen their communities erode to the point where they've been overrun by homelessness and drug addiction on their streets. Proposition 36 is the most tempered language proposition I have seen. It's not a full shift from one side to the other. In this circumstance, with the language of Prop 36, the pendulum is swinging to the middle and stopping. Orange County, like all communities in our state, continues to grapple with homelessness, which of course is closely associated with the drug addiction crisis we are facing. The drug addiction crisis we created in the last 10 years post Prop 47. Prop 47, if you remember, was the intentionally misleading and mislabeled proposition called the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. It did neither. It did not make our schools safer, and most definitely did not make our communities safer. In fact, it did the opposite. For the past 2 years, my department, under my leadership, has established a homeless death review committee to review homeless deaths within the County of Orange. Like other communities, we saw homeless deaths increase significantly over the last decade and primarily over the last few years. Drug-related deaths were the primal factor in these increases. Of the 496 homeless deaths in Orange County in 2022, 55% were drug-related, and almost all of them had a nexus to fentanyl. We can no longer pretend it is compassionate to take a live and let live approach to homelessness and drug use. Too many lives are being lost, and many lives are being lost because of fentanyl and consuming fentanyl not knowing so. Prop 36 provides a pathway for those suffering from addiction to receive treatment rather than cycling in and out of jail on a daily basis. And while in jail, I can tell you that they are getting the best treatment, probably the treatment they're not getting in community. Of the 3,800 individuals entrusted to my care, 1,100 of them are on medication-assisted treatment to get them deal with their opioid use disorder. Another 200 of them are on medically supervised detox in step-down units because of alcohol and/or drugs. And what you will hear from our adversaries who are trying to support or oppose Prop 36, supporting a continued crisis in our community and actually advocating for the continuation of crime, that we are striving to do the best we can in dealing with this issue, that this is not about mass incarceration. This is about the individual getting the treatment they need and avoiding criminality. It's up to the individual to make life choices that will keep them out of crime, not for us, but there will be accountability restored to that process. I want to highlight one impacted member of our community, but there are many. And this is not a unique story. Many of us can share stories just like this, and this is the story of Alexander Neville, 14 years old, who one evening took a counterfeit pill that he thought was a Xanax that he purchased off the internet. That pill was counterfeit, contained no pharmaceutical qualities, it contained only fentanyl, and unfortunately Alex's mom, Amy, like many parents, found her son deceased in his room the morning after consuming that pill. Proposition 36 includes several provisions to put in place serious penalties for trafficking fentanyl. And these penalties are necessary because for years, I, like many of my colleagues, have advocated for legislation to include penalties for trafficking fentanyl. And every one of those propositions or legislative measures were wholly refused in the Senate Public Safety Committee. In fact, it should not be, the Senate Public Safety Committee should be retitled "The Senate Keep Anything But the Public Safe Committee," because it's done nothing to keep our public safe. And this is time when we need to take action. One of the provisions of Prop 36 also includes language called Alexandra's Law. Alexandra's Law, Alexandra Capilouto and her father and mother, I met Matt several times, advocated through the legislature for 5 years to include language and admonishment for those who are selling and trafficking fentanyl. That admonishment, just like a DUI admonishment, say if you commit this crime again and it results in the death of an individual, you can be charged for second-degree murder. 5 years in a row, that language of Alexandra's Law was refused, never made it out of committee. In fact, Scott Wiener out of San Francisco said he would never support it. All it did was warn somebody that if they commit a law again, if it resulted in the death of another person, they could be held accountable for that. Wholly rejected over and over and over again. And what's really sad to me is that language of Alexandra's Law was hijacked by the legislature, mislabeled, and used Alexandra's name to try to have a competing bill against the language of Matt Capilouto, his wife, in the honor of her memory. And that did not get moved forward. There's an old adage that in leadership, that you encourage what you tolerate. We can no longer tolerate the criminal acts that have impacted the state. We need to put the state back on a good trajectory for recovery. And for those who are advocating for a no on Prop 36, you're actually advocating for continued crime within our communities that are impacting us. It's time to hold these offenders accountable. It's time to restore some justice back to California. It's time to put California back on a pace that we can save our state. I highly recommend, as all law enforcement does within the state, a yes on Prop 36. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Michael Trimble, Executive Director of the Gaslamp Quarter Association.
Good morning. My name is Michael Trimble. I'm the Executive Director of the Gaslamp Quarter Association, and I'm proud to represent the association in support of Proposition 36. The small businesses that make up the heart of the Gaslamp Quarter are restaurants, retailers, entertainment venues, and lodging establishments, are the backbone of our community. It's our responsibility to advocate for policies that protect them and create a safe and thriving environment for everybody. Since the passage of Proposition 47 a decade ago, we've seen the unintended consequences that have deeply impacted the hospitality sector. The reduction of penalties for certain crimes has led to increased crimes, safety concerns, disruptions for businesses in our district. Vandalism, theft, public disturbances have hurt the customer confidence and affected tourism that drives so much of our local economy. When our businesses suffer, so does the entire city of San Diego. Proposition 36 offers a balanced, much-needed solution. It restores accountability by holding repeat offenders responsible for their actions. But more importantly, it addresses the root of the problem, addiction. By giving individuals the choice between treatment or jail, Proposition 36 helps break the cycle of addiction that drives much of the criminal behavior. It's not just about imposing penalties, it's about providing a path to recovery and healing for those struggling with addiction. When individuals have access to life-saving treatment, they begin to see the reduction in repeat offenses and a safer environment for our businesses to thrive. Homelessness and addiction are deeply intertwined with the public safety issues, especially in districts like the Gaslamp Quarter, where tourism and businesses are so closely connected to the vibrancy of our community. Proposition 36 addresses these challenges head-on by allowing judges to mandate treatment for repeat offenders, giving them the chance to rebuild their lives and curb their behaviors that negatively impact businesses and public spaces. I would like to take a moment to thank District Attorney Summer Stephan for her leadership and perseverance in championing Proposition 36. Her dedication to public safety and justice has been instrumental in getting us here today. In closing, everyone deserves to feel safe, whether it be visiting, working, or doing business in the Gaslamp Quarter and throughout San Diego. Proposition 36 will help make that happen. It's about creating a safer, more secure environment for all of us. Let's support this measure and ensure a better future for our city. Now it's my honor to introduce Sheriff Jim Cooper from Sacramento County.
Good morning, good to see you all. I'm Sheriff Jim Cooper from Sacramento County and a former Assembly member. I've witnessed firsthand the devastating effects of drug addiction and a close relationship with homelessness, crime, and public safety. In 2014, the same year that Prop 47 was on the ballot, I was elected to the State Assembly, and coming in there, I saw the immediate impact that Prop 47 caused. I ran a bill in 2015 and every year subsequently to try and address the issues of Prop 47. My bills never saw the light of day and out of the Public Safety Committee. Think about that for all those years. This year in 2024, we had 20 bills dealing with retail theft on Prop 47. Why was that? Because it got so bad. That's the only reason the legislature did it. They saw the polls, they knew the citizens were fed up with it. That's the reason on it. And think about this fentanyl. If someone from the street unconscious, what's the first thing they do? Administer Narcan. Narcan in schools, Narcans in our county jails for the inmates to access in their pods, everywhere. That is not okay. The new norm is also, hey, push the button, have someone come and get you soap and deodorant. That is not all right. It is failed, it has been failed for a long time, and people are fed up. Prop 36 is compassionate. In Sacramento County for drug court, once 47 passed, 70% of our folks that had a drug addiction did not go to drug court anymore. Drug court's successful, it gets folks off of drugs. But the advocates don't want anything done, they want zero accountability. And that's really been the big issue. How do you change that narrative? Legislation can't fix it. The legislature passed a package of bills, and one of them is for aggregation, where you can combine theft for retail theft. We have an appellate court ruling and a California Supreme Court ruling that you cannot combine theft. The legislature can pass this bill. That bill will be overturned. So really, it was a smoke and scream with Prop 47. Prop 47 has been failed. It has failed us for years. It took 10 years to get legislation that wasn't even meaningful. The legislature didn't have the courage to do it. They did it because of the outpouring of support for the citizens to get the law changed. That's why we're here. In Sacramento County, our coroner's office released a report highlighting that in 2023, Sacramento County saw a 400 fentanyl deaths. That's a 33% increase since 2019. These aren't just numbers. They represent real people, families, communities torn apart by the fentanyl epidemic. Prop 36 works. The hardest thing to get off of is an addiction. If you complete drug treatment, you can get your record expunged. It's compassionate, but the advocates and the proponents will tell you, hey, it's going to increase incarceration in jails and put folks in prison. That's just not true. They're fear mongers. They're afraid of it. The public's tired of it. They want change. That's why we're all here. We've seen the poll numbers. It is time to step up and vote for Prop 36 and change this. Prop 47 was voted on by the voters. To have meaningful change, it has to be changed by the voters. The legislature cannot do this. They'll tell you they can, but they can't do it. We have to do it. Enough's enough. It's time to get behind Prop 36. And that's why we're all here. I want to reintroduce DA Stephen.
Well, thank you, Sheriff Cooper. It really is an honor that San Diego becomes the place where these amazing sheriffs who have been trying to protect their community from across the state of California, and the president of the chief probation officers is here in San Diego because San Diegans want to be safe. It is a human right, and enough is really enough. And I really appreciate everybody, and especially our own Sheriff Kelly Martinez, coming out, and the business owners and people who represent our community, who work hard for our neighborhoods to be safe, being here to speak with one voice about that it's time for a change. 900,000 Californians signed the petition to make this the people's initiative. They were tired of inaction and decided to take matters in their own hands using the legal processes of bringing Proposition 36 to the people for a vote. But what's important is for everybody to be patient and go down to the very end. The last proposition on the November ballot may be one of those most important propositions that can affect the daily lives of people, the daily lives of our businesses, the daily lives of our children, and to make them better for everybody. Do you have any questions, or if everybody's here available, if you want to do one-on-ones or you have questions?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.